Senator Rappel.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. But it's always humbling when you make these kinds of announcements to see, friends and people you've worked with over the years. I want to thank Supervisor Johnson for those comments and those remarks. We had a big announcement earlier today in Lockport, New York. So I guess the suspense is probably lost on everyone here because you know why we're here. But we're here for an important reason. This really is the heart of the district, in my view. And we wanted to make a point when we were doing today. We wanted to be here in Genesee County, in Batavia, because when you think about Genesee County, Orleans County, Livingston, Wyoming, even parts of Ontario, it's rural New York, it's rural America, but those are the values that we talk about all the time that we're losing in places like Albany and Washington, D.C. These are the values that our party talks about defending all the time. And I think it's important that you're actually where those folks live. This is the heart of the district, in my opinion. And so it's great to be here today. I want to thank everyone again for joining me. I want to thank the good Lord above for guiding me and for also allowing me to be here. It's incredibly humbling, as I said, to be here today as I announce my candidacy for the United States House of Representatives. I do so fully aware of the challenges that lie ahead. I enlisted and deployed to Afghanistan because the September 11th attacks represented such a pivotal event to me and to my generation. I believe we are again at such a pivotal moment politically and culturally in our country and here in Western New York. When the towers were struck on that September morning, and when the Pentagon was hit, and when Flight 93 fell, it was very clear to me on that day what my calling was. We were attacked by Islamic terrorists. Now, there are members of Congress today who are uncomfortable with that truth. They would rather say that some people did something and move on. I will never let them get away with that. I will never let them dishonor the memory of the 3,000 Americans who died that day, nor will I let them dishonor the memory of the thousands of Americans who have fought avenging them ever since. I've always believed in the call of patriotic service, whether military or public. The front lines is where I want to be. In Afghanistan, we fought al-Qaeda and Taliban terrorists while trying to rebuild a war-torn country. Today, we have elected members of Congress who have never worn the uniform, who question why we are in Afghanistan in the first place. Well, I'll tell you why. We brought the fight to the enemy. We destroyed the al-Qaeda leadership, and we killed Osama bin Laden. Every veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom has played a part in making that happen. I was lucky to return home to Megan and my family, but I wear a constant reminder on my wrist of 4 of my brothers in arms who were not so lucky. And that is what motivates me and inspires me to this day. These men and countless others died for an idea that we refer to as America. And my commitment to that idea did not end when I took off my uniform. So I want to thank you for joining me today at the front lines for the battle of our country and our future. Anytime we turn on the nightly news and hear from the president's attackers, all we hear is that we're living in an awful, evil nation, an awful time filled with awful people. I don't believe that, and I don't think any of you believe that. As your next congressman, my message to those who dislike our country so much, who dislike all of you so much, who dislike the heroes like Washington and Jefferson, who dislike our laws, will be simple and direct. If you don't love this country, you're free to leave. Our borders work both ways. This district embodies the American spirit and all the values that have made our country great. Whether I'm visiting places like Lockport or Batavia, suburbs like Hamburg and Victor, or breadbasket farming communities outside of Warsaw and Avon, there is an agreement. Yes, we have our differences, but we generally all agree that our country was great, is great, and can still be greater. Albany, and by extension New York State, is a stark warning to the rest of the country. We already know here what the Democratic Socialist agenda is: higher taxes, open borders, driver's licenses for illegal immigrants, unionization of our farms, abortion on demand, more rights for criminals, and more gun control for our law-abiding gun owners. I am proud to have been recognized multiple years as the most conservative state senator in Albany. This recognition is not only a testament to my core values and beliefs, but I believe it's a testament to yours. I've stood up to the likes of Andrew Cuomo, and I will do the same to the extreme radical Speaker of the House. You all know who I'm talking about. She runs the Democratic policy agenda, and she has never seen a camera she doesn't like. And she's a New Yorker. Her name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She has a couple of deputies too, Nancy Pelosi and her America-hating squad members, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. I look forward to meeting all of them. In Albany, I have always worked on behalf of our veterans and their families, whether it was helping to bring the Joseph P. Dwyer program to my district, fighting for more mental health or addiction services, or helping to bring World War II veterans each and every year to Washington, D.C. to visit the monuments that were built in their honor. I will and continue to make sure that we have the backs of our veterans. As your congressman, I will fight to get our veterans the health care they deserve. I find it disgusting that Democrats care more and talk more about free health care for illegal immigrants than they do about the health care, addiction, homelessness, and suicide rates of our veterans. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. I want you to burn that number into all of your brains. 22 veterans a day. We should all find that wholly unacceptable. I will never stop working to make sure that our veterans have the care and that it comes first, not second and not last. I use the VA for my own health care. I know it needs to be better. But if we can't take care of our warriors, and if we can't keep the promises we make to them, then all the other promises we make don't matter because we couldn't keep the most important one. I'll also work to secure our border. We cannot be the only nation that refuses to respect its own border, its own sovereignty, its own laws, and its own people. If we don't respect our borders and our laws, no one else will. The open borders policy of the Democrats will destroy America as we know it. I know this all too well because I've seen it firsthand on the front lines. I'm the only candidate in this race that has helped to secure our southern border. I deployed to the southern border as part of Operation Jumpstart. I know what our Border Patrol is up against. We need to build the wall. We need to increase funding for border security of all kinds. And we need to close the loopholes that are allowing people to cut the line and waltz in here consequence-free. And I welcome that fight. I have the credibility and the experience to fight back. Folks, we have a border crisis. And we will continue to have a border crisis until we recognize that immigration needs to be done legally and that our border must be secured. I'll also fight to keep taxes low. Democrats tend to have a solution for everything, and it usually involves more of your money. We've got to stop this. The unprecedented economic growth that we're seeing right now is due to Republican policies and conservative economic principles. The Democrats refuse to admit what they're seeing right before their eyes, and that's this. We have the best economy we've had in a generation, and it's due to Republican principles and economic principles. Fewer regulations and less government leads to more money in the pockets of all Americans. So if you hadn't guessed it, I support President Trump, and I'm not afraid to talk about his agenda and all the good that I believe he's doing for this country. And like the president, I have personally been the target of a partisan witch hunt led by my political opponents. Disgraced, woman-abusing former Attorney General Eric Schneiderman came after me and my wife for political gain. The same Eric Schneiderman who went after President Trump. And just like our president, I didn't back down in the face of baseless accusations. I told my constituents then that I had done nothing wrong and that I would be exonerated. And that's exactly what happened. A Democratic judge threw out all the charges. And today, I proudly stand before you as a candidate for Congress and as a New York State Senator. Eric Schneiderman, on the other hand, resigned as a fraud and now, sadly, collects a $63,000 taxpayer-funded pension while also teaching meditation classes. He probably has a lot to meditate about. The left has thrown everything they've got at me and they've lost. They're doing the same to our president in an attempt to undermine him and impeach him. But again, they will fail because we'll stick up for our president, and we're going to take the fight right back to them. Like so many young men and women who answer the call of their country, our great country, I am asking you to send me, humbly, send me to Washington, D.C. to serve this great country of ours. I'm asking each and every one of you to send me to Washington, where I will continue to fight for our freedoms and our way of life each and every single day. I am Rob Ortt. I'm a conservative warrior. I'm a battle-tested patriot. And I will never back down from the fight. I'm not running for Congress to have a seat at the table. I'm running for Congress to flip the table over. God bless you, and God bless America.
So what made you decide to run in the last couple of weeks? It didn't sound like there was going to be anybody else running, and you've thrown your hat in.
Sure. Well, for me, I was involved in this process last fall when all the interviews were going on, and I have stayed interested. I had been around the district, talking with community leaders, and I just looked at this race to right now is wide open, and I think it's so important that we have a strong conservative veteran voice, a battle-tested leader in this race. I think it's important for the people of this district, and I think it's important for our country and for our president. I think we need someone in there that we know is going to have the president's back on his agenda. And I think I know I have a voting record that actually backs that up. So it's not just me saying it. I've actually, you can look at my voting record, you can look at my conservative rating on a lot of these issues. I've stood up for the most liberal legislature in the country, over the past several years, but certainly this year more than ever. So I just made the decision that, I see what's happening. Albany is a warning to Washington. If they take over the federal government, we already know what they're going to do. And I feel it's important to go to Washington and stop them from doing across the country what they're doing in New York.
So you're the third person to put your hat in the ring here. Do you think there's more coming in back of you?
I have no way to know that. I know there's some people in the race. There's some people rumored. We'll see. All I know is we felt this was the right time to get in this race. We're in it to win it, and we're going to go forward from here and take our message across the district. But obviously, we felt it was important to be here today.
One person not mentioned here today is the incumbent. You haven't discussed at all what you think of his plans, or that he hasn't announced anything. Do you anticipate running against him? If you do, what's that race look like? If you don't, what's the campaign look like?
Well, right now, like I said, the race is wide open. The Congressman Collins, I think, has actually done a good job over the years representing this district. I think he's been on the right side of the issues as far as the voters are concerned, and he's had the president's back. He hasn't made his plans known, and so I think, right now, as I said, this is a wide open race. We're approaching it that way, and that's why we got in today. So our message right now is I got to get out and meet a lot of voters, right? I mean, there's people that know me very well in Niagara County, Orleans County, but in a large part of the other district, they don't know me. So we got to bring our message across, and it's going to be about Rob Ortt and what Rob Ortt's message is and what Rob Ortt brings to the table.
If he confirms he's running, would you stay in the race?
We're in the race now, so my view is we're in it to win it for the long haul.
So one thing that might be interesting, and I'm wondering if they'll make an issue of it, you're a combat veteran. He avoided the draft in 1968. Would you make an issue of that?
No, I mean, I'm going to talk about my service, not someone else's lack of service, as far as I know. And, so I at this point, that's not going to be an issue. I respect the congressman's service as a congressman. Obviously, I'm going to talk about my service as a veteran, and the voters can make their determination on who they want to represent them should it come to that. But again, I think it is, for me, obviously that's a big part of my story, is my service to my country. And, we have an all-time low right now of veterans in Congress and in the House of Representatives. And so I think it's important to have people there that are battle-tested, but that have worn the uniform. And so that's one of the reasons I am running. You would have.
I was going to ask you, was there any other purpose for announcing in Batavia other than you covered this being the center of the district? Was there any other reason you wanted to announce here?
No, I think I think that obviously Genesee County is important, as all the counties are. But I think sometimes, again, we talk about a lot of the issues as a party, and I've seen it at the state level, the issues we're talking about rural America, about fighting against New York City elites and Washington elites, this is the heart of the district, and I think this is the heart of America. And I think, these voters embody a lot of the American values that we talk about. So I think it's important to be here on the ground and to let folks in Genesee County know, and Livingston and Ontario and Orleans, that it's not flyover country. We're going to be here. We're going to be out on the ground. You're going to see me a lot here. And so I just thought it was very important to not just make my announcement in Lockport, where I live in Niagara County, but to be here, I think, in kind of the heart of the district, and a part of the district that I think is representative really of a large part of this district. When you think of the Glow region, you think of the agriculture aspect, you think of the sort of that rural aspect of this district. That was why we felt it was important to be here, and I thought it was important to be seen here, not just kind of glad handing, but really make this part of our announcement day.
Yeah, the other two candidates that are running in the primary have not been here yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's their decision. I've represented Orleans County in the Senate for a number of years now, and I think I know when I was first getting in there, I knew how important it was to be in Orleans County and to make sure those folks knew that I was going to be a strong conservative voice for them. And I want the people in Genesee County to know that as well. I'm a battle-tested guy. I'm a proud supporter of the president's agenda, but a lot of that agenda is proudly supported here in places like Genesee County and Batavia. So I thought it was important to be here, not just symbolically, but really to be on the ground here and make this part of our rollout, to let people know we're going to be here a lot. We realize how important this is, and when you talk about the president's agenda, it's no more embodied than here in Genesee County and places like rural parts of this district.